Today's explainer, we're pulling back the curtain on the troubled teen industry by looking at a pretty shocking source, their own internal playbooks. So here's the puzzle we're tackling today. How is it that dozens of separate, super secretive programs for teens all end up using the exact same psychological techniques? Well, the answer lies in a shared blueprint, a replicable model for behavior modification that has been passed down for decades. And we're not just relying on hearsay. We're going straight to the source, looking at the confidential master scripts from 3 key players: CEDU, the program that really kicked this all off, its direct spinoff, Carlbrook, and the massive WASP network, which licensed the CEDU model. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll trace the lineage of these programs. Then we'll dive into their core psychological metaphors. After that, we'll analyze their signature workshops, expose the 6-step conditioning cycle underneath it all, and finally, step back and ask, what does it all really mean? First things first, it's so important to understand that these programs didn't just appear out of thin air. They're actually all branches of the same tree, and they share a direct documented lineage that goes all the way back to a controversial group from the 1950s. This timeline really lays it all out. It starts with Synanon, a group known for its really aggressive encounter group style. An affiliate from there goes on to found CEDU, which becomes the mothership, really. From that point on, former CEDU staff create their own schools, like Carlbrook, or they license the model to huge networks like WWASP, spreading the specific psychological DNA across the entire country. So how does this family tree actually translate into their techniques? Well, all of these programs, no matter that they call themselves, start in the exact same place. They use a powerful metaphor to convince a teenager that they are fundamentally broken, and that only the program has the tools to fix them. CEDU called it the chrome ball. WWASP used the iceberg. Now, what's so fascinating here is that even with the different imagery, these metaphors do the exact same job. They establish this idea of a hidden damaged self that the student doesn't even know about and is totally powerless to fix on their own. And get this is from the actual script from a CEDU workshop. It describes a perfect inner self, a shiny, bright, beautiful chrome ball that's been covered up by junk, things like drugs, lies, and negative labels. The program's goal is right there in black and white. We're going to start to chip away at that mess and reveal the chrome ball again. And then you've got the WWASP version. Your conscious mind, what you think you know about yourself, is just the 10% tip of the iceberg. The real you, your true intention, is buried in the other 90% that's on autopilot, filled with self-defeating behaviors and fears. And the program's goal? To get access to that hidden part of you. So, the bottom line is, this isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's a setup. It's a sales pitch. These metaphors are the entry point. They create an urgent internal problem, a covered chrome ball, a dangerous iceberg, and then they frame the program as the only possible solution. So once the problem's been established, how do they fix it? Well, the engine for this supposed change is a highly theatrical, emotionally intense, multi-day workshop. They all have different names, but as these documents show, they're fundamentally the same experience. Just look at this side-by-side comparison. It's uncanny. CEDU's Prophets and Carlbrook's workshops have almost identical goals, identical methods like confrontation and guided fantasy, and, this is crucial, an identical rule of absolute secrecy. Students are explicitly forbidden from telling anyone what happens in these sessions, not even their own parents. The scripts orchestrate these experiences with incredible precision. In this CEDU guided fantasy, students are literally lying on the floor while a facilitator tells them to feel the darkness and the weight of all the stuff on your shoulders, engineering a moment of desperate emotional breakdown. And here, in a nearly identical exercise from Carlbrook, the script tells the facilitator to create a scenario of total abandonment. Students are told to call for their parents, only to be told they can't hear you. They are not coming. You are all alone. This is manufactured distress, scripted and delivered on command. So how do these powerful emotional experiences fit into a larger system? Well, when you analyze the scripts from start to finish, a consistent 6-step process for psychological conditioning just jumps right out. This cycle is the real blueprint that all these programs share. This 6-step cycle is the engine that drives the entire system. It's designed to systematically strip away an old identity, activate deep shame, induce a childlike state, create a massive emotional flood, and then, right at that moment of crisis, install dependency on the program itself. Let's walk through it. Step 1. Identity strip. This starts before any therapy even begins. From the moment a workshop starts, a student's connections to their own life are severed. No music, no mail, no side conversations. It's all about removing a person's existing sense of self to create a blank slate. Next up, step 2, shame activation. The program induces a state of worthlessness through public confession. As this CEDU script shows, students have to disclose a long list of personal topics, from stealing and drug use to their sexual history and suicide attempts, all in front of the whole group. Steps 3 and 4 basically happen together: regression and emotional flooding. Through high-stress exercises and guided fantasies like this junkyard visualization from Carlbrook, students are pushed into a highly suggestible, childlike state. Then, the emotional intensity is just cranked to the max to induce a complete breakdown, a catharsis. And this is where the whole thing comes together, in steps 5 and 6. At the exact moment of peak vulnerability, a state the program itself engineered, staff step in with comfort and praise. The institution becomes both the source of the agony and the only source of relief. It's a classic conditioning technique for installing dependency. So when you put all these pieces together, what have we really learned? Let's quickly review the key takeaways from these internal documents. We've seen a clear, documented pattern, a shared blueprint passed down from Synanon, core metaphors designed to make a person feel broken, identical, secretive workshops that use a replicable 6-step cycle to break down a personality and install dependency. And most critically, these methods were designed for consenting adults, but are being applied here to children who can't leave. This quote just frames the central ethical problem perfectly. It isn't about any single technique in isolation. The danger is the combination of all these techniques, applied systematically to teenagers in a closed environment with absolutely no oversight and no escape. And this leaves us with a final, critical question. Looking at these scripts, this shared blueprint for breaking down and rebuilding a personality, we have to ask, where is the line between helping someone change and forcing them to? And who is responsible for drawing that line when the subject is a child?